Now back to live coverage on the CRN Sports Network.
Looking for a life insurance company that specializes in what you actually need? Protection. Call Danny today with Symmetry Financial. Danny is certified in all 50 states, which means Symmetry Financial is not limited and has over 30 companies to choose from. Symmetry Financial has proved time and time again that their options and pricing is just better than the rest. Give Danny a call today at 828-994-1681 to see how Symmetry Financial can make life simple. This is CRN, the Community Radio Network, the voice of the community, the voice of anything sports, and proud to be the voice of the Comets. Follow us at crnsports.org. Now let's get back to the broadcast coverage on CRN.
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening.
Friday night, March 27th. Welcome to another edition of the CRN Sports Network podcast series. And it's a preview show. It's a warm-up, if you will, exhibition, guys, for the new Roundtable show. CRN's The Roundtable. All of our crew on CRN will be joining us every Tuesday night, or those that are unavailable, every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It's a late night show, 9 o'clock, and we just talk about any and everything. I mean, I'm telling you, we talk about sports, we talk about religion, we talk about politics, we talk about life history stories, the good, the bad, the ugly of sports and life and politics and religion. And this is our warm-up show. I'm Wesley Outland, along with Trace Knight, co-founder of the CRN Sports Network. As always, follow us at crnsports.org and all of our podcast outlets. Also joining us is Brandon White of course, the Daily Dispatch, Race22.com, and co-host with yours truly of Full Throttle. Had a great show on Thursday. Yesterday, the numbers are great. By the way, all podcasts are available. Brandon White, Mike Guerin, the co-host of Red Clay Life with yours truly on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern joins us. And also Daniel Moore is in the house. So we've got four guys together. Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Doing good. Ready to rock and roll.
Doing great.
Happy to be here.
Everybody's doing well. So, okay. And for Trace Knight and for Andrew Laird and for Bruce Barrett, I'm going to give them all a tardy slip. Or did not show up. They're absent. So even though we're not in school, they are in school because they missed class session tonight, because this is a warm-up for you guys to get prepared for Tuesday night show.
Well, it should be a fun show then.
Definitely.
That means anything can happen tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Daniel.
So, fasten your seatbelts.
Exactly. So, Daniel, anything goes, brother. But how have you been doing, man? We ain't seen each other since me and you called a basketball game back last year in November at Corinth Holders, or actually at Clayton. We did a Clayton game together.
Yeah, just been kind of busy work. I have, other obligations and stuff. So, unfortunately, it's been kind of taken away from my time to get into some games and call some action. But, we got to pay the bills and got to make things happen. So, and
I apologize. The last time I saw you was back in January. You actually went to a Raleigh Firebirds broadcast game with me and Trace Knight. So, definitely.
It slipped my mind, too. So,
don't worry, man. Hey, we're getting old, but we're not getting that old yet. At least I do get some timers, but at least do remember. Mike Guerin, how you been since we talked 48 hours ago?
Well, I'm doing good. I've completed week one of sequestering, shelter in place, working at home, and I don't like it.
Sequestering, you sound like you're in prison.
It kind of feels that way.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, guys, I guess the first topic we could talk about could be this. Who would have thought we'd be going through something like this in our country?
I certainly wouldn't have, Wesley. I mean, I was paying attention to what COVID-19 was doing in China. And, I figured, well, I mean, this could get bad here, but, maybe like China's got to contain, like maybe they're doing, what totalitarian regimes do, but like, completely like locking down like Wuhan in particular. But sure enough, their efforts weren't enough. It starts spreading. And, I thought, well, maybe it's just like one of those things because, at the time when it broke out, they said, oh, this only really affects like elderly people. Like, we need to watch out for that.
Right.
But, then Rudy Gobert, like he contracts it and they have to shut down the Thunder Jazz game that was scheduled to play, I believe, like last Thursday or so. And, the whole perception on this whole thing changes. And now, well, we're all in self-isolation. North Carolina got the shelter-in-place order today.
Yes.
It goes into effect on Monday. So life is going to keep altering for us for at least the next couple of weeks or so. And, unprecedented times, I think, would be the correct way to put this.
And can we talk about this? Obviously, we're not going to divulge the whole time of the roundtable about this discussion because honestly, the reason why we created CRN Podcast was to get your damn mind off of this craziness that's going off in our world. I mean, I pray for our leaders of our country. I pray for all of our people. And as Brandon said, if you have loved ones that are up in age, my grandma, she's 87 years old. So we try to make sure she's okay. We check on her every day. And I would say the same thing. Just keep on praying. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 is my favorite Bible verse. Keep on praying. That's all we can do. And definitely, I promise you, there's going to be some type of silver lining at the end of this dark cloud that we're all faced with. And it's not just me or Mike or Brandon or Daniel. In some shape or form, this is affecting everybody in the world right now. It's a global pandemic for sure.
No doubt. We're all in it together.
Definitely. So, but, my take on this is, and we were talking a little bit briefly about it before we came live on the air during sound check. I feel that this is preventing the United States government and President Donald Trump from declaring martial law on the country per se. Because it's the state governors, and people, if you don't know your research on this, governors do have the right by state to issue martial law or declare a state of emergency or lockdown or quarantine, whatever type of nice words they want to use politically to promote but lock people out to do it. But it seems like, guys, and I mean this with no disrespect, it's not really changed since what we were doing 15 days ago. I mean, since I came home from Georgia on March the 15th, I've been home. I haven't gone anywhere.
Right. And, I mean, you can't really blame the governors for that. I mean, the virus, it's very contagious. It's far, far more than contagious than I think some people would have thought. I mean, people on Facebook and Twitter were comparing it to the swine flu and that maybe we were just overreacting. And now we realize that we're not overreacting. And, for those that are still going out and about, I mean, they're still spreading the virus. So the governors, like, they really have no choice but to declare shelter-in-place laws. And even then, I've seen, people in other states, videos of them, going out to the beaches and stuff like that when they're strongly cautioned to stay at home. So, I mean, it's probably going to be around for a little while longer. I mean, I really don't like saying that, but as long as people are out and moving about and not abiding by the regulation of the CDC and, the shelter-in-place orders for the state governors, it's going to keep getting out there. It's going to keep getting spread around.
Mike Guerin, is it suffice to say that everybody needs to do their part? Because if they don't, this isn't going to get any better. You're the oldest man here. You're the adult of you're the adult of everyone else here. So,
yeah.
Wanted to get some adult daddy advice from our CRN crew.
Yes, there you go. I mean, it is absolutely imperative that we follow these precautions. And I made a prediction a couple of days ago, which it sort of came true.
Yeah.
I predicted that Tennessee would shut down at midnight tonight. Listening to now, I used to be 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
I watched the news from 4 or 4:35, whatever, straight through till 7 o'clock every day. News hound. I refuse to watch. I haven't watched the news in 10 years.
Why is that?
Maybe. So much negativity, so much political posturing. I'm not a big fan of mainstream media. There's good and bad and all, but there's, the big mainstream media outlets are owned by large corporations,
right,
who have many politicians in their pockets, so they're going to advance their agendas. And but I have been watching the president's update daily and Tennessee governor's update daily, and Trump is really holding the governor's feet to the fire, which I like. He's given the states the chance to take care of their own business and let them know the federal government's here if you need us.
Right.
But get your crap together, and it'll be within the next day or so. Tennessee, Georgia, these other surrounding states will shelter in place.
Daniel Moore, what's your thoughts on the lockdown, so to speak, the shutdown, whatever kind of words you want to use? I believe it's preventing what will be martial law.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you guys are right for sure that we all kind of have to do our part. There's a lot of, if you're on social media, there's a lot of jokes about it and this, that, and the other. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is something that, that does need to be taken serious. And, ultimately, I think that, like I said, we just need to do our part. And I don't like to divulge too much into politics. I just don't like to, I have different opinions from most people, I guess. So, but, like I said, I do think it's at this point, it's here. So we all do need to do our part and try to stop the spread of this. And
with your job,
but for me, it hasn't really affected me. Yeah, right. I was actually going to mention that I'm considered an essential employee or whatever. Like I said, this is all kind of new ground for everybody. We're all in this kind of together.
Right.
Obviously, never in my life, I'm 27 years old. So, never in my life have I had, these situations go on. So really it hasn't affected me work-wise, other than with CRN, obviously with no sports going on, which is a huge bummer. Obviously we do what we do, sports related for the love of sports, no matter what the sport is. And right now everybody's just kind of in a lull, of not having that release or that, something to watch to kind of take your mind off of. For me, with my job, it's been pretty busy, believe it or not, with all of this going on. So, and then they've cut our hours back a little bit, but it hadn't really slowed down business too much. And so it would be nice to be able to come home and watch a Hurricanes game or hockey in general, or at this point, March Madness. I mentioned earlier today that at work to a guy that, March sucks without March Madness basketball,
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I think we're all definitely feeling the strains one way or the other of what it is. And I'll tell you something else, too, guys, that's so disappointing. It's beautiful outside. At least it is in the southeast United States in North Carolina. Like today it was 83 degrees. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 87 degrees. Hey, spring's upon us. The warmer weathers are here. Getting ready for spring, Easter. The flowers are blooming. Pollen's in the air, if you want to call it that. If you're not a fan of allergies like I am, you try to keep your car cleaned off as much as you can in the last week or so because of pollen getting on vehicles. But I mean, it's just